Thank you for joining me today. I want to begin today with a simple question. When an employer resigns, what story do we immediately tell ourselves? They found a better opportunity, they wanted a higher salary, they were looking for career growth. And sometimes those things are true. But I believe those are often the reasons people give, not necessarily the reasons people actually leave. The question that interests me is different. Not why did they leave, but when did they start leaving? Because most employees don't leave an organization the day they submit their resignation. They leave emotionally long before they leave physically. The resignation letter is often the final chapter of a story started months earlier. A story of feeling unheard, feeling unseen, feeling disconnected, feeling that speaking up no longer makes a difference. And that's why I believe employee retention is not primarily a technical problem, it's a relational problem. Most organizations respond to turnover with technical solutions, more benefits, better compensation, new engagement initiatives, more surveys. But if trust has eroded, those solutions often arrive too late. Because people stay where they feel respected, people stay where they feel psychologically safe, people stay where their contribution matters. People stay where trust exists, and trust is not built during annual review. Trust is built in everyday interactions, in how managers respond to mistakes, in how difficult conversations are handled, in whether leaders listen when the answer isn't convenient, in whether people experience consistency between what is said and what is done. That's where culture actually lives. Not in mission statements, not in posters on walls, but in repeated behaviors. And every organization, whether intentionally or unintentionally, creates an emotional environment. An environment that either strengthens commitment or quietly encourages withdrawal. The challenge is that many organizations don't notice the withdrawal until it becomes visible. By then, the employee has already disconnected. And when they leave, the organization pays a cost, not just recruitment cost, not just onboarding cost, not just productivity cost. There is also a trust cost, the cost of lost knowledge, lost relationships, lost momentum, lost confidence within teams. The cost is often much larger than we realize. This idea became the foundation of my ebook, The Trust Cost. I wrote it because I wanted to explore a question that doesn't get enough attention. What if employee turnover is not simply a talent problem? What if it's a trust problem? And what if organizations could reduce attrition by paying closer attention to the quality of relationships inside their workplace? Because every organization is at its core a network of relationships, manager to employee, leader to team, team member to team member. And when those relationships weaken, performance eventually follows. Before I close, I'd like to leave you with three reflections. Reflection one: who in your organization has stopped speaking up? Not because they have nothing to say, but because they no longer believe it will make a difference. Reflection two: what promises has your organization made that employees no longer trust? Trust rarely breaks because of one major event. It often breaks through small inconsistencies repeated over time. And reflection three: if your highest performing employee resigned tomorrow, would you honestly know why? Or would you only know the explanation they choose to give? And here are two tiny turns you can make this week. Tiny turn one: have one conversation where your goal is not to solve a problem, but simply to understand someone's experience. And tiny turn two: ask one employee this question: what is one thing we could do that would make you feel more supported here? And then listen without defending. And finally, one foundational truth: people may join organizations for opportunities, but they stay, disengage, or leave because of their experience of relationships. If These are the kind of conversations you enjoy. I've recently launched a newsletter called Proximity. Each edition contains three deep reflections, two tiny turns, and one foundational truth. Simple ideas designed to help us think more deeply about relationships, leadership, trust, and the system we create around us. And if today's topic resonated with you, you may also find value in my ebook, The Trust Cost, where I explore these ideas in greater depth and share practical ways organizations can strengthen trust and reduce unnecessary turnover. Thank you for being here with me today. My hope is that you leave this conversation looking beyond policies, processes, and performance matrix and paying a little more attention to the human relationship that sits underneath them. Because at the end of the day, every organization is simply a collection of relationships. Take care of yourselves and the people you lead. Have a meaningful week ahead, and I'll see you again next week.